I had been practicing my smile in the mirror for days, not because I was vain, but because I didn't want my grief to show in the wedding photos. My husband, her father, had passed just 9 months earlier. I knew the sight of me alone in that church would remind me of him, so I told myself to keep it together. My daughter, Lily, had been planning this day for over a year, and despite the distance that had grown between us, I was determined to be there. I arrived early wearing the lavender dress I had carefully picked so I wouldn't clash with the bridal party. I had even had my hair done at a salon, a rare treat I hadn't given myself in years. In my small clutch, I carried the gift I'd saved for, a delicate gold bracelet with her initials and her late father's engraved inside. It was meant to be a quiet reminder that even though he wasn't there to walk her down the aisle, a part of him was still holding her hand. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. The venue was a sprawling white farmhouse turned event hall, buzzing with photographers, florists, and frantic bridesmaids. I followed the signs to the bridal suite, my heels clicking on the polished wood floors. I could hear laughter and music inside. I knocked gently. "It's Mom," I said, smiling, bracing myself for a hug. The door opened just a crack, and Lily's face appeared, painted to perfection, framed by professionally curled hair. But her eyes were cold, scanning me like I was an uninvited guest. She looked me up and down. Then she smirked. "No wrinkles in the photos." Before I could speak, the door slammed shut in my face. The sound was sharper than it should have been, maybe because it echoed straight into my bones. I stood there, my hand still half raised as if I might knock again, but the music inside drowned out the silence outside. I could hear the bridesmaids laughing, one of them saying something about keeping the vibe young. I thought about knocking again, about demanding to be let in. I thought about saying her name the way I did when she was little, when she'd run to me without hesitation. But my voice wouldn't come. My feet wouldn't move. I walked away instead, past the other guests who were arriving, past the ushers handing out programs. I could feel eyes on me, wondering why the mother of the bride was walking toward the exit instead of the front row. I sat in my car for hours, watching people file inside, dressed in their best. I saw her walk down the aisle from a distance, through the large glass windows, her new husband looking at her like she was the only thing in the world. I should have been happy for her. Instead, all I could think about was how easy it had been for her to erase me from her perfect picture. I drove home before the reception began. The lavender dress was still smooth and uncreased when I hung it back in the closet, as if the day had never happened, but something inside me had changed. She thought wrinkles ruined photos. I was about to show her that marriages can wrinkle too, and some can crumble overnight. I didn't cry that night. I didn't even take off my makeup. I sat at the kitchen table, still in the lavender dress, staring at the bracelet I had meant to give her. The engraving caught the light, her initials on one side, her father's on the other. I traced the letters with my thumb and thought about the man she had just cut out of her wedding as easily as she cut me. I didn't call. I didn't text. I let the silence hang heavy. 2 days passed before I saw her post the wedding photos online, dozens of them, all staged to perfection. Her smile was wide, her dress flawless, and the guests looked like they had stepped out of a lifestyle magazine. But it was the captions that caught me. "Best day ever, surrounded by everyone who matters." Everyone who matters. That was her way of saying I didn't. It should have hurt more, but instead, I felt a strange kind of calm settle over me, because I knew something about her new life that no one else at that wedding knew. Something she had told me months before, when she was drunk on the couch, crying about cold feet. She had signed the prenup in a hurry, too much in a hurry. Her new husband, Daniel, came from a family with money, not flashy money, but old money, land, businesses, trusts, the kind of wealth that doesn't like surprises. The prenup wasn't just about protecting him if things went wrong, it was about control. If she broke certain clauses, she walked away with nothing but what she came in with. And I knew every single clause because she had shoved the papers at me once, asking if I thought it was too strict. At the time, I told her to think it over carefully. She rolled her eyes, signed it anyway, and laughed it off. Daniel will never enforce it. He loves me. I made coffee and read those clauses again from the copy she had left behind. There it was clear as day, a morality clause, a financial disclosure clause, and a stipulation about public image tied directly to his family's business reputation. If she embarrassed him publicly or was caught in certain kinds of lies, the prenup became ironclad and she'd be left with nothing. Nothing but the man who suddenly didn't have to pretend to adore her anymore. It wasn't hard to decide what to do. I had spent years swallowing her disrespect, biting my tongue while she made me smaller in every room. But she had just slammed a door in my face at her own wedding, not out of accident, but out of calculation. So I made a calculation of my own. I waited until after they got back from the honeymoon. She sent a text, not an apology, just a single line. "Hope you understand it was just the stress of the day." I didn't reply. Instead, I sent a different message, to Daniel. A polite, simple invitation for coffee. We met at the same little cafe he had taken me to once, back when they first got engaged. He seemed surprised, but he came. I brought the bracelet in its box and set it on the table between us. "This was supposed to be for her," I said, "but after what happened, I thought it should go to the man who should know exactly who he married." He looked confused. "What do you mean?" I told him everything, not the petty things, the cruel things. The way she had spoken about his family's money. The way she laughed about finding ways to work around the prenup. I showed him screenshots not stolen but sent directly to me over the years when she thought bragging to her mother was funny. Daniel's smile didn't fade. It didn't even twitch. He just sat there, listening, his hand resting on the box with the bracelet. By the time we finished our coffee, I could see the wheels turning. Lily had slammed a door in my face to protect her perfect pictures. Now I was opening a door Daniel might never close again. Daniel didn't act right away. That was the smartest part. Weeks went by without a word from him, and I thought maybe he'd decided to let it go. But then, one Thursday afternoon, my phone buzzed. A single text from an unknown number. "Turn on Channel 7. I did. And there it was. A charity gala, one of those black tie events Daniel's family sponsors every year. Cameras flashing, interviews rolling, the kind of night Lily had dreamed about since she was a teenager. She stood at his side in a glittering gown, smiling for the reporters, until one leaned forward with a mic and asked a question that made her freeze. "Mrs. Whitmore, is it true you were overheard telling friends that your husband's family money was your retirement plan?" The camera caught at the flicker in her eyes, the way her mouth opened and closed. Daniel didn't jump in to save her. He didn't even glance at her. He stepped forward and answered calmly, "I'm sure my wife will have the chance to explain herself in private." Then he guided her inside without another word. The gossip spread like wildfire. Within 48 hours, there were blurry cell phone videos of her at a friend's bachelorette party, drunkenly laughing about marrying up and finding ways around the prenup. I didn't leak them. I didn't have to. Daniel already had everything he needed. The divorce filing hit the courthouse 3 weeks later. The morality clause was enforced, the prenup locked tight. Lily left that marriage with nothing but her clothes and a dented car she'd bought before the wedding. The apartment she rented afterward was a far cry from the mansion she'd been posing in for Instagram peeling paint. No central air, a view of a parking lot. She called me once. Just once. Her voice was quiet, stripped of its sharp edges. "Why?" she asked. I thought about lying, about saying it wasn't me, about claiming Daniel had figured it all out himself, but she'd already lied to me enough for one lifetime. "Because, Lily," I said, "you taught me that appearances matter more than people, and now you finally look like the person you've been all along." She hung up. I haven't heard from her since. The bracelet? Daniel mailed it back to me with a short note. For the only woman in this story who knew the value of loyalty. I wear it now, not as a reminder of her, but as proof that sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It's letting someone's perfect life age into the exact wrinkles they tried to hide. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.